volume's off. Okay.
Are we ready? Good morning.
That's got to be me.
We're having technical problems here. Please hold on.
Let's start again.
Oh. Be careful that we're on.
Turn this off and then.
How about that?
Are we echoing now?
No echo.
Okay.
Go.
Well then, good morning. I will call the meeting to order, the Community and Economic Development Authority for the City of Fitchburg on January 25th, 2004. The first order of business will be to do a roll call. Ms. Joyce.
Jennifer Cleary, Mario Garcia Sierra are both absent with excuse.
And it's Jennifer
Rogers.
I'm sorry, Sanders.
Sanders. Yeah.
Mark Hamilton.
Present.
Dan Hardy. Joe Maldonado.
Here.
Andy Potts.
Here.
Randy Udell.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Our next order of business is the approval of the minutes from the December 7th meeting.
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's really hard to hear from Zoom, so a mic may not be connecting.
Can you hear me, Joe?
Very faintly, but not in the same way as I can usually hear.
Okay. I've got my mic turned on.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't hear the way that I could hear if somebody's mic was connecting.
Okay.
It's really difficult to hear.
Well, we'll give it a try again. Can you hear? You can hear me now? Kind of both.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's faint and very incoherent.
All right. We'll see what we can do here. In the meantime, let's go back and look at the minutes while we're working on that. I will go slow and loud. You all got a copy of the minutes in the agenda, and I would entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
It has been moved by Randy Udell and seconded by Andy Potts. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. There is none. The motion passes. We'll move on to item 4 on the agenda, public appearances for non-agenda items. There is nobody in the room. George, is anybody else or Mike signed up to speak? Okay, there's nobody else to speak. Moving on, we'll go to resolutions and ordinances. And Mike and Joyce, there is nothing on that to...
No resolutions or ordinances.
No resolutions. So we will move on to the committee, commissions, and board staff guide. And I'm assuming Mike and Joyce will take this part over.
Yes. And Joe, are you hearing us better?
Just a minute. Speak, please.
Joe, just doing a sound check. Can you hear us better?
Are you trying to talk to me, Mike?
Yes. Can you hear better?
I can't hear anybody. There's like one person I can hear clearly, but everybody else is really distant and barely audible.
Okay. George is trying to adjust the volume and sound.
So why don't we wait a second, Mike, to see if we can get it.
No.
See, when I unmute George, then we get all the static and...
All right, now can you talk? Can someone talk?
Joe, can you hear me now? This is Mark.
Talk again.
Joe, can you hear us now? This is Mark.
Yes. I mean, I can hear Fact TV. That's the only mic that's picking up.
Okay.
Joe, can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, but it echoes. Yeah.
Yep. So,
I took off echo.
okay.
Talk again, please.
Go ahead, Mike.
Joe, Mike Z here, doing a sound check. Can you hear me now? Joe,
Joe, can you talk?
sound check. Can you hear us now?
This is Mark again, Joe. Can you hear me? I got two mics on.
Hello?
Should we go out and go back in again? Would that work, George? I don't know. I'm not technical.
I'm sorry, guys. I haven't been trained in all of this. This is a brand. I am okay. I'm muted. I'm unmuted. Try again. Try again.
Joe, just doing a sound check. Mike Z here. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, he's going down there. Randy said have him log off, Mike, and log back in.
Joe?
That's what Randy said try. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Hey, George.
I'm embarrassed.
That's okay.
No. Do you want to just communicate with Joe and ask him if he could log back in?
What happened? I wish Jeremy was. It's okay.
It's all right, George. We'll just.
I'm going to call Scott.
The TV. Yeah, I think that's fine. And hey, George, then tell him to send me an email if he's got something to add that we can share. That'll
Or in
let's
chat.
try.
Or in chat.
Or chat, in chat,
Yeah.
in chat.
Joe, can you send? I don't have a microphone here.
Oh.
Ask me to send you an
All right.
email, Mark.
Joe, you can, if you've got we'll take that plan you suggested for now while we try and figure it out. If you could send information or questions you have or reports you want to make in chat or in an email to me, we will get it up to the group. Is that okay with you? I've got two on.
Yeah, should we try shutting this one over?
I am so sorry, people.
Can you hear me now, Joe?
I just sent a message to Joe in chat,
Okay.
or to everybody, and I just said, Joe, please send us any questions in chat.
Okay.
I need help down here. Should I call Jeremy? He's not here. He's not here. No. I can't have communication on
He's trying
on
to talk,
Zoom.
yeah.
Joe Maldonado can't hear me, and I can't. I can hear
Should we
him,
call
but
him?
he can't hear me.
Joe,
Well, he can't hear any of us.
we can hear him talking on TV.
Down there.
I know.
Yeah.
That's weird.
But he said he's
Thank
gonna
you.
watch on Fact.
Yeah.
Scott is coming. I am so sorry.
Well, and Joe is gonna.
I am so sorry.
No, George, that's okay. That's
Don't worry about it.
technical stuff
I
happens.
really.
But Joe is gonna listen on Fact TV.
And Scott is coming. Scott's
So-
on the way.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I apologize big time.
Okay.
It's okay, George. Things happen. So
Yeah.
Well,
we're going to move ahead with the meeting. And Mike and Joyce, if you want to go over the
Sure.
city handbook.
Yep, this is a new helpful guide from administration and the clerk's department that they've put together. So they wanted to route it to all the various committees and just see if there were any questions and or information additional information. Just a couple of things here would be it just mentions in the guide about letting us know if you're going to be absent from a meeting, so that way Joyce can correctly note it in the meeting. If you're out sick or if you're going to be traveling and unable to make a particular meeting. The other probably difference there going forward, when you look at what it guides us and directs us to do with the minutes, we've probably Joyce has taken more robust and more detailed minutes where it's really supposed to be just the action items there. So going forward, you'll probably just see a streamlined version of the minutes that'll be just based on action items. And then if people really want more of the discussion in the thread of the discussion, they'll need to come to the recorded version of Fact TV for that going forward. And then one other thing, and I think Joyce already does this, just always watch your emails kind of at the start of the year, because she sends out the calendar invite for each of the monthly meetings there through Outlook. And then one difference with CETA compared to the other committees is because we're an authority, the alders that serve on this committee could actually serve as chair and vice chair. Valerie, Joyce had checked with Valerie multiple times through the years, and we're distinguished as an authority by state statute, so that actually allows the council people that they could be chairs or vice chairs.
Does that apply to all committees?
No, it's just because we are an authority.
Okay.
Yep, that's the
It has
distinguishing
come up in
factor
other
between the
committees as
other
well.
ones.
So
Yeah.
understand. Thank you.
So any questions on reading through the guide? It's just kind of a helpful introduction, and then when we get new members, like when Jennifer joined us, Joyce and I reached out to her and we sent a lot of our documents and communication, like the City in Motion, revolving loan fund, housing plan, things like that. So we always do an introductory email and then offer to get together and meet with them to answer any questions, to bring them up to speed with the committee action and what we're working on.
Okay, Joyce, do you have anything to add?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you.
And thank goodness there will be streamlined minutes, because it also mentions you have to have the minutes posted in 3 days. So,
Well, I think it's helpful to have this. Do other committee members have any feedback on the document? Questions, concerns?
Nothing here. No.
Okay. Joe, anything you want to add? I've heard from Andy and Randy. Anything you want to add?
the only message I have from Joe in chat is I can't hear Mike at all. I'm going to listen from Fact TV website.
Okay. All right.
He's talking down there.
He said I'm still completely muffled.
Okay.
Sure. Joe, can you hear me now? Okay, I'm down by the Fact TV computer. My cell phone number. I'll send it to you in chat, okay? Sure.
Okay, since this was just for information only, we'll move on to item 7 on the agenda, which is the hotel room tax considerations. Mike and Joyce.
And we do not have a hotel room tax report. The fourth quarter is due June 30th for the fourth quarter for 2023.
Okay.
So at the next meeting, we should be able to give you an update on how the year ended.
Okay. We'll continue to move forward on the agenda. Item number 8, the Economic Development Director and Committee Reports. Mike and Joyce, the floor is yours.
Sure. And the first item on the list there is the City in Motion implementation. And what Joyce and I thought we would do, since it's the start of the new year and everything, I'm going to hopefully share my screen here. And we're going to bring up the City in Motion document, and I'm going to pull up the strategic framework there. And we're just going to go through that document and kind of give some updates and highlights as far as where we're at with some of those projects. Let's see if this works. Okay. Is it up on the screen?
You can see over there.
Yeah.
George, can you allow Mike to share his screen?
That's up on their screen.
now. Thank you, Ron.
Yeah, but I don't see it up there. I'll talk, I guess, while they're trying to figure this out. So the Economic Development Strategic Plan was done in 2018.
1819.
1819. It was an update to our first plan that we did about 4 years prior to that. Just a couple things about the plan. It was developed by about 30 stakeholders. Is that right, Mike?
Close, yeah.
And it was made up of business leaders, elected officials, the chamber, industry sector experts. And so there's a lot of action items that are listed in that strategic plan. However, it's a collaborative effort, so not all of the initiatives and action items are things that the city's going to do. A lot of them are collaboration with other outside partners. So we just kind of wanted to share a little bit of the background. Mayor Julia Arata has funding in the TID ARPA plan to do an update, probably start that later this year or early next year.
We're looking to coincide that update with the once the major comp plan process launches, which will be in the second half of this year, and then going forward in 2025 as well, to kind of align that together. It's not up on the screen, but I guess what I can do is I can hit just kind of the themes of the different ones and give some of the updates, and we'll go forward from there. So the first one is kind of the redevelopment toolbox. This goes under the main umbrella of enhancing economic centers, building places, and strengthening neighborhoods. So the first one is under 1.1, the redevelopment toolbox and proactive implementation. And that includes everything from sharing information on programs that are available not only through Fitchburg, but through our regional partners and also through the state. So Joyce has a really good kind of summary of that on our city website and page there of the various tools that are available. And then we're working regularly. It also talks about working on sites and with developers and everything. That's kind of regular day-to-day ongoing work for us. So two examples that we're currently working on with that is there's a group out of Grand Rapids, Michigan that we're working with, Colburn Hundley, for the quarry site across from Super Target. And hopefully sometime this year he'll be bringing forward a comprehensive development plan for that approximately 37 acres that we call the outfield. That's kind of west of Fitch-Verona Road, and then north as the road veers to the east. So that's one example. Another one would be working with Royal Capital. We're trying to get them jump-started on that Fawside property, which is the clean fill site between Highway 14 and MM. Sounds like they're finishing up a project in Milwaukee that now will allow them to spend more time and focus on that site here, particularly in Fitchburg. The next section is 1.2, talks about the Fitchburg Technology Neighborhood. There again, we regularly meet with our development partners that own land in the area that constitutes the Fitchburg Technology neighborhood. And this year in particular, we started it last year, we were selected for a UW capstone project. So we're working with a student from the Urban and Regional Planning Department. And in fact, we got a meeting with her later today to kind of see where she's at with her project. So we're going to be refreshing and updating the vision for Uptown Fitchburg specifically. And then as far as our kind of regional, statewide, and national and international marketing, this group allows us to have a membership in the Wisconsin Technology Council. So that's one of our kind of networking and marketing opportunities. We regularly go to their entrepreneurship conference annually and also the early stage symposium. And then we're also members of BioForward and MadRep. And then we also partner with WEDC on any of the RFP and projects that they get. And Joyce works diligently with them on any that kind of align with our inventory of available land and also with our industry cluster. So we continue to kind of work those networks to keep Fitchburg front and center. Then 1.3 emphasizes prioritizing gateway redevelopment corridors. And as you might recall, 2023 was the year of TIDS. So along all three of our north-south corridors, that's exactly what we did, where we put new tax increment districts in place, one in the Southdale neighborhood. We amended the one that we have up in North Fish Hatchery Road, and then the one along Highway Verona Road, 18151 on the east and west sides. That kind of reflects the Arrowhead and Anton redevelopment plans. And we're actively right now kind of reaching out to development partners about land and opportunities in each of those three respective TID districts to see if we can collaborate and partner on various development projects. So that work is ongoing and continues. 1.4 is specifically the housing affordability. And this tells you kind of the plan is somewhat dated here because it talked about doing a housing plan and setting up a housing advisory board. We've already done those things. So where we're going in this track right now are really the three programs that we've been talking to CETA and the Housing Advisory Committee and the Council about. And those three, we're launching actually the Efficiency Navigator program that focuses on the older existing multifamily housing stock and kind of upgrading that. That's one track. We're still focused on the affordable within market rate, and we're hoping that the Avalon project that Venture Capital is doing on Index Road will be our pilot program for that one, and Ellers is helping us kind of vet and establish those program parameters. And then the third one is our rental and townhome program. Administration asked us to do more due diligence. The council had kind of authorized or approved the initial phase of that. And then as we were going to phases 2 and 3 for further analysis, council asked us to kind of step back and do more due diligence on that. We've got a memo summary from H&A, and then we've got kind of the legal analysis that Corey did for us that we're vetting with administration. And once we kind of go through that, then we'll be bringing it forward to CETA, the Housing Advisory Committee, and Council to kind of say, here's the due diligence, the information that we've gathered, and then hopefully you all as the policymakers and the council would make the final call on do we want to move forward with a pilot project somewhere here in Fitchburg. So stay tuned on that one, but there's been a lot of work kind of ongoing behind the scenes that we'll be bringing forward with all three of those tracks. Then we get to 1.5, which is build upon and communicate advantages of cities' multiple economic centers. And that one is ongoing. The new addition to kind of our work capacity in that area is the software subscription for Buxton, where we want to be more proactive, kind of looking at those economic centers along those three north-south corridors and doing more specific, proactive, strategic, and targeted kind of reports and outreach to some specific uses. And we're currently working with one with a kind of a sit-down breakfast restaurant that we want to reach out to say, hey, would you look to do another location in the greater Madison-Dane County region? And here are some opportunities in Fitchburg. And then hopefully we can supplement that with this market research and data analytics from the Buxton software. So that's going to be kind of our first kind of test pilot program using the Buxton software. So that's kind of the summary of number one, which covers enhance economic centers, build places, and strengthen neighborhoods. Any questions on kind of that bucket or anything? Okay, I'll keep going then. Then the second kind of larger category is build on Fitchburg's identity, brand, and sense of community. And 2.1 starts out, expand identity as a science and technology-driven community. Now it's up on the screen so you can kind of follow along a little easier. So you could see the 2.1 section there. And this, again, is a little bit redundant from what I said earlier with our partners with the Wisconsin Technology Council, BioForward, WEDC, MadRep, and then Venture Debt Program. So we continue to cultivate and work on those relationships to try and drive business development and investment in the city of Fitchburg. Then in the 2.2 section, this is performing and visual arts and cultural and historical attractions. We worked with our friends at the COPA, who have the building on Index Road, to allow them to expand their venue and kind of size of events and opportunities that they would have at that facility. So we worked with the planning department and brought them through on a new conditional use permit to expand their scope a little bit at that existing. We're hoping that will ultimately lead to them eventually doing the COPA facility that you might have seen some renderings and vision for, but they continue to implement their vision as far as programming from that site. And then another project that you're going to hear about is along Index Road. It's north of the View Apartments, and this is kind of a unique potential project working with our friends at Adventure Capital, Mike and Ned again. They're proposing to do a mixed-use building at that site, which would have about 206 market-rate apartments. But the other interesting, unique feature of that is it would have 22,000 square feet of commercial space, kind of live-work, that would be specifically for more of the artists, almost like an artist kind of conclave there. So we're excited about the idea and the approach, and they'll be coming forward to the Plan Commission in February for a pre-application meeting for kind of the development parameters of that project. So we'll keep you posted and stay tuned as we kind of learn a little bit more about the vision. Joyce has connected Ned, who's kind of spearheading the project specifically for Venture Capital, with everybody from the Wisconsin Arts Board, Ann Katz there, to also the Dane County Arts Board and Cultural Affairs Commission, as far as that mission and scope for the kind of the artist worker space, that would be available there.
What is the location again?
It's right along Index Road.
It is,
and
okay.
it's north of the View Apartments. It's actually Lot 6, so where Oshala comes out.
Yes.
Now with the Oshala Springs building, it's kind of that vacant lot there on the east side of Index Road.
Got it. All right. Thank you.
So we're excited about that because we think it's going to provide various opportunities for us in that particular space of performing visual and cultural arts. Hey, Scott.
I'm just going to make a quick comment on that. We already kind of have in that corridor a lot of kind of arts groups that are there. The Madison Opera has a warehouse there. The Madison Music Foundry has practice space there. So Sonic is just across the road in Madison, and they do a lot of the concerts on the square and a lot of outdoor music venues. So we feel like, based on it, when we did our visioning for North Fish Hatchery Road, that we've already started to cultivate that kind of music and arts neighborhood. So we feel like we could really do some cool things up there if we continue to work with not only the people that are up there, but the chamber's been really involved with the Madison Art Project that they're doing in McKee this year, where they're going to have the
Flowers of Wisconsin or
Yeah.
something with the crochet.
So we really feel like that's an economy that we could really capitalize on if we had a really kind of neat niche area there.
Then if we get to section 2.3, this is kind of local food vision and implementation, or maybe more the agricultural focus. And Angela, our partner at the Fitchburg Chamber Visitor Business Bureau, is really doing some good work in this sphere, working to bring multiple ag tourism conferences to Fitchburg and to Wisconsin. So she's already had 3 different groups that have come to town that have stayed in our hotels, and so some really good stuff happening in that space with our tourism partner. And then our colleagues in the planning department have updated the Fitchburg Agricultural Plan, working with the Ag and Rural Affairs Committee. And then Terra Vesa has incorporated in the southeast corner of their development kind of an ag park, which is a new feature here to Fitchburg that will allow for opportunities for garden plots and activities over there, and maybe even another kind of mini farmers market in that particular area. And then Mayor Julia has floated the idea of potentially working with the ag and farm community here to look at establishing maybe a farm museum somewhere here in Fitchburg. So there's just initial conversations going on about that idea and concept. So some interesting things being chatted about in that particular area. Then if we shift down to 2.4, schools and education vision, we continue to work with all 3 of our Fitchburg school districts that we're a part of, and with the idea and focus on the potential for more place-based schools. And so you probably saw the announcement earlier or late last year about the Verona Area School District acquiring some land at Lacey Road and Muchler Road for potentially a future high school, looking many years out, but kind of positioning our community for the possibility of working and collaborating with them on that idea in the future. So that's one area with the Verona Area School District. With our friends at the Oregon School District, we continue to partner with them. We've got their first place-based school in Fitchburg with Forest Edge Elementary School in Terra Vesa, and then they've acquired land in the southern part of Fitchburg at Highway 14 and on the east side of MM, potentially for a future Oregon middle school down there. So when we go through that major comp plan process and we look at future urban service area extensions, that will be part of that conversation going forward. And then we worked with Edgewood College, as you know, for their athletic and wellness, kind of the entitlements to allow that to come to fruition there at Lacey Road by the Badger State Trail. And they're kind of waiting to, they're kind of in their quiet fundraising mode right now and kind of waiting to identify some of those lead donors that would help to drive that project. Then we've got 2.5 sports and recreation. Joyce and I continue to work with and stay in regular communication, as well as our Parks Department, with the Madison Area Sports Commission. We were part of their assets and inventory, not only information gathering, but then went to multiple meetings for the report that kind of gave a really good summary of the assets and inventory in the whole sports and recreation sphere in the greater Madison region. And then Angela and Mark and others have been very active with specifically with the pickleball sport activities, not only upgrading our courts, the existing ones that we have at McGaw Park, but also that resulted in bringing a tournament, kind of a smaller regional tournament to the area. And then collectively, our efforts also resulted in a capital improvement plan item to expand those courts, add another 4 courts over there to get it up to a larger tournament potential level there. So we think that has growth potential in that area for us. And then the other thing I guess we'll mention there is just this group and Mark's leadership and the bike committee as far as the whole B-Cycle network and the launch of that area. I think it's been really positive in the community. So thanks for everybody's help with that one. Then shifting down, you got something, Joyce?
Yeah, and I just want to add that Mike and I we did review the park and open space draft and provided comments and feedback on areas where we felt that we could maybe improve upon for hosting more kind of regional and national tournaments per se.
Mike, if I can also add one that's kind of tangential to that. The bike committee will be updating the bike and ped plan sometime during this year, probably the latter part. I met with the mayor as well as with Chad, and the planning department a couple times last few weeks, and we're going to be doing that, and that will have some impact into what's done here. But of course, B-Cycle will continue to assess where they sit. We may be adding more stations down the road. We have one that isn't in the neighborhood by the golf course. It's part of the neighborhood hub that's going in up there, and so there's more to come. But we're also going to update our plan. So.
Okay. And that's another perfect example to Joyce's initial comments that this isn't just CETA's. CETA oversees kind of the vision and the plan here, but there's a lot of other partners and committees, both within the city official organization structure, but also outside partners that help us to accomplish these goals and objectives as we're continuing to evolve to that full service kind of city and community. Then shifting down to 3.1. The first one is expand economic opportunities and work-based training for youth and young adults. We're really excited that we have the Latino Chamber of Wisconsin located in Fitchburg along Verona Road. That's been a partnership that we've been cultivating for a number of years. We continue to do outreach with our friends at the Black Chamber of Commerce as well. And then I think the other exciting thing was the partnership with the Madison Area Builders Association, the Boys and Girls Club, and with them locating the McKenzie Workforce Center here in Fitchburg that we think is going to offer tremendous opportunities going forward there. So all good things happening in that area, and we think we're well positioned in that. Then 3.2, again, some of the groups that we partner with are the Latino Chamber, the Black Chamber, the Young Black Professionals Group, the Faith Leaders, and then we regularly participate in the Diversity Summit that the Urban League of Greater Madison and MadRep put on annually as well. And then one of the, probably one of the most popular events every year is the All in This Together, which is the business after hours networking event with all the collective group of chambers that really draws a diverse community out to all network and a great opportunity there. So, and then Joyce, you mentioned the Employment R Group. Oh, yeah, you want to talk about that? That's our internal one here.
We do have a ERG group here in City Hall that meets, and they do a lot of kind of outreach and education on different diverse groups within our community, and also celebrating those communities. So if anybody's interested in learning more about that, feel free to reach out. They've done like the Juneteenth. They've done what was the last thing they just did? Scott, you might know. It was related to losing a loved one, and they had a display where you could put like a memory in, and then there was kind of like a blessing type thing. I'm not quite sure what the official name was, but they've come up with some really unique and interesting things to share and expose our employees to, and it's been a great learning process for us.
Then under the 3.1, supporting diversity and entrepreneurship development, we regularly participate in the Entrepreneurship Conference. We're doing some outreach to WEDC regarding minority business development and the programs that they have. And then in the respective TID districts that we created, we kind of put some money in the development incentive category there. Specifically, we don't know what the programs might be yet, but to allow us to maybe do some programmatic efforts there that would be focused on kind of minority and diverse business kind of programs there. So we need to think more about that. I know the City of Madison has some programs that might be potential examples, but that would be some entrepreneurship programs to cultivate minority business development in those particular neighborhoods. So we'll keep you posted as we think through some of those ideas. Then 3.4, we've got that's the one that improved transportation connections between underserved neighborhoods and adjacent job centers. we've got the BRT, as you know, Fitchburg, the North Fish Hatchery Road is going to be part of the north-south leg of the BRT. I think those stations will be constructed in 2025, and then I think that would launch in 2026. We did the Oshala extension just from a street network standpoint to kind of open up and create a better grid up there. And then there's the potential that the city is going to be going forward for a levy limit operating referendum to ask the question of our citizens. And I think each of those potential questions that would come forward, there's the thought process of some of the dollars being specifically to expand transit in our community. And I think specifically maybe connecting the east and the west sides of Fitchburg where we have a gap right now. And then we worked closely with the Southdale neighborhood when there were some route changes there to get some improvements that we heard from the neighborhood that they were looking for. And then we would just mention the B-Cycle program here, which provides opportunities for Fitchburg throughout the city throughout our community there. So that's 3.4. Any questions on that bucket? Then we'll move to number 4, which is leverage location, innovate, and collaborate. And the first one is 4.1 North Fitchburg and South Madison area. Probably the big thing there is the town of Madison coming to Fitchburg on the far east side and us welcoming that area geographically, but also the residents to Fitchburg, and now working to kind of bring them into the city of Fitchburg. And that's one of the reasons why we created the tax increment district over there. The other one is the generational reconstruction of North Fish Hatchery Road, and not only the public investment that occurred there, $28 million for the project, but we're well over $100 million in private sector investment with more on the way. Not only projects that are currently under construction, but the artist lofts that'll be coming forward probably this year, and then you will probably see demolition of Bowman Plaza sometime later this year, and then hopefully a project that will kick off there in 2025 for it. So some really good things happening. And then, as we mentioned in the earlier items up top, that's one of the areas that I'm quietly trying to cultivate and identify some other potential development partners. Mike and Ned have been great, but they kind of have their hands full up there with the projects that they're doing. So I'm reaching out to different developers and brokers to see if we can identify some other partners that might take on some other sites up there and look at some other redevelopment opportunities. And then one thing that we did include in the TID and North Fish Hatchery Road and the project plan amendment that we did is we do have some dollars to do kind of some site-specific analysis there. So if we identify a development partner where maybe we could work with a consultant and that partner to determine how do we drive a project on a particular site, especially when we're talking existing sites that have existing ongoing businesses there. How do you make a project happen there? It's a lot more complicated, and it's more like a puzzle where you got to kind of fit the pieces together, not only geographically, but also from a timing and economic standpoint there. So that's why we put some dollars specifically in TID number 10 for that type of analysis. Then 4.2, set proactive approach for major business prospects. This is a lot of our business retention and expansion, working with our existing businesses on trying to stay ahead of their need for additional facility and expansions, but then also working with our partners at WEDC and MadRep for the RFPs that come out, and Joyce works closely with them for the submittals, and we submitted, was it 3 in 2023 that we responded to out of, I think there were like 16 that initially came to us. These are the kind of, they always have like a stealth project name, and then we identify if it aligns with our kind of industry cluster and focus here in the city of Fitchburg and our community. And then a lot of times kind of the first request that they're looking for is for an existing building, and we don't we're in a good situation that we don't have a lot of vacant existing building space out there. That's a good, bad situation to be in. But then sometimes they're like, well, if there's not an existing building, then they might consider a kind of a greenfield site for a new facility. So we kind of filter through those and determine if it's a good fit for us and if we're well positioned for it. And then Joyce packages all of that information and gets it turned around quickly for this submittal.
I'm just going to make one quick comment on that because we just were invited to the South Stoner Prairie neighborhood to kind of give an overview of the market as they're looking to kind of come up with some land uses in that area. So I put together just a little report and kind of the sweet spot from the WEDC site searches. Most of the searches were looking for a parcel that was a minimum of 40 acres up to about 100 acres. So that's kind of what we need to really look at to have something contiguous like that would spark someone coming to Fitchburg. And a lot of those businesses that were looking for that type of land were the food and beverage type production and distribution. But there were a couple of biotech and I think a lot of advanced manufacturing. Nothing, we work with the planning department when these requests comes out, and so some we don't even respond to. Like we had a project that was looking to do rubber manufacturing. Well, that's not something that is a good fit for Fitchburg. So we didn't even respond to those. So we just wanted to kind of share with you that, there's a major need out there for some larger parcels that we don't have to even accommodate our existing businesses. We've been very fortunate to work with some property owners that aren't actively marketing their property to fulfill some of the needs of our existing businesses. So this is areas where we're going to need support from the council and also from planning and from you to kind of tell our story that, if we want to be competitive, not only in the regional and national market, but we need to have space to accommodate our businesses as well. Because really 90% of the work we do is working with our existing businesses. So we just need to keep that in mind. So I'm finished with my sermon now.
Joyce, if I can add a codicil to your sermon, it would be nice to know again where those pockets of land potentially are in the city. I know you did that as we were doing planning a year or two ago, but I keep hearing this 40 to 100 acres. And again, I think I know the city well enough, at least as it goes north. There's not a lot of those pockets, if any. And I know that the Verona School has that option. That was 40 acres, wasn't it, over there off of Lacey?
I think is it 60?
Is it 30? 35. Okay, but it's in that window, right?
Yeah.
So I think it'd be nice to know, as if you want us to help and come up with ideas where, because I know we identified that a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. And I think it's all to the south, but I could be wrong. Because Uptown doesn't have that much space. You've got Terra Vesa, or we have Terra Vesa. I mean, it'd be nice to know where those are at a future meeting. Just give us a list or whatever.
Okay. And just real quickly, industrial, the Fitchburg Commerce Park expansion there, and we're looking to create a tax increment district there this year. So this would be from Cottonwood to the north, kind of where General Beverage is, through the Payne and Dolan property, south to Lacey Road. That would be an area that would get us a 40-acre parcel. So that's one in particular that's on our radar screen, more immediate there. Then in I would say, kind of the near term, it would be working through these two neighborhood plans, both South Stoner Prairie and then Greenfield, that could both provide us some areas for additional business and industrial park land there. And then I think when we launch the major comp plan update, that's where I think we're really going to need CETA to weigh in, to talk about kind of some larger tracts of area that would be specifically designated for that clean manufacturing, light industrial, where we could get some acreage, maybe like 200 to 300 acres there in one contiguous area, and especially in that area along the Highway 14 corridor, where then we're probably also going to need another interchange there, because access for those types of areas and to be competitive, that's going to be critical as well. And we've got thoughts and ideas on all of that when we start the major comp plan process.
Thank you.
Yep.
I didn't mean to send you off.
No, that's good. Good question. Well, and one thing to piggyback on that is Mad Rep, our regional partner, did a business park analysis, and Fitchburg really didn't rise to the top in that analysis because their cutoff threshold was 200 acres there. So we didn't even rise to that level. You know, we were mentioned a little bit anecdotally in the report, but other areas within the region, like especially the Rock County, Janesville, Beloit area, you know, they've got hundreds of acres of business parks that are available, and we just don't even compete in that area for some of these national and international prospects that might be looking.
One other, I guess, kind of comment that I'm going to make, because Fitchburg City proper does not own any land, we have to work with our private sector partners. And I know that I did have maybe 1 or 2 site searches over the years where the landowner said, no, this is not a use that I want to see in my development. So, I mean, we have a lot of challenges with just finding land, and then when we do have something that works, you know, we have to have somebody that's willing to work with us as well. So, just another note.
Then 4.3, continuing on here, partner on workforce development. We mentioned our partners earlier in another one, everything from the Latino Academy, McKenzie Workforce Center, Urban League, and then we stay in close communication with the Wisconsin Workforce Development Board of South Central Wisconsin as well, because that's not something that we've got the resources to do here locally. It's really partnerships and collaboration to accomplish things in that area. And then 4.4, broadband access and expansion. I'm going to turn it over to Joyce, and maybe Randy wants to chime in too, because they're on our kind of our own internal committee here that's been looking at what's possible in the broadband area.
Well, our internal committee basically would be me and Randy, because everybody else has moved on.
Yeah.
We have learned a lot about broadband. There is money out there. However, there's a lot of pieces that have to fit together in order to expand. One thing is usually there's a match for any grant that we would get. So unless we have really deep pockets to connect that last mile, there isn't really a willingness from local government to be that partner. It's, most of it would be we would have to kind of take ownership, maintenance, and responsibility for the broadband if we did the expansion. So we've really kind of had our hands tied. And Randy is an expert because he's, that's his background. So do you have anything else you want to share, Randy?
No, I think you summed it up well. But I think you in your summation, the ownership and the deep pockets are something that's of concern, and you pointed that out. The ownership would be the city, and I don't know if we want to undertake that just because of the maintenance, the operational expense going forward is for that last mile. You and I have discussed maybe from a county perspective, maybe for something there. There's a possibility. I don't know if you've heard anything further, at least within Dane County. But then again, maybe an alder that's leaving and going on to county board can provide some assistance or something like that going forward. If elected, right? But from a broadband perspective, my own personal experience was always from the private sector. And it always came down to dollars and take rate and, investment and what are you getting for your return. So I think that's why there is no carriers in that last mile. I mean, it's very expensive to build out broadband. So.
I guess I can give you one update from the county. So with that kind of $5 million that was in the pocket that I had asked about what the plan was, they did do some research and a plan, and now they actually have a broadband person, a staff person who came from the PSC. So I don't know, what his plans are. I haven't had the time to pop on one of their meetings, which I have on my calendar every month, but that's one thing. And then I also did go to the governor's kind of tour that he did on broadband expansion, and it was at Madison College. Jeremy and I went, and I guess I just asked why we didn't do this when we were getting these dollars, why we didn't do it at the statewide level and put out an RFP and then we would force the providers to have to work together to make a plan to have this happen. And it was a question no one had ever asked them before, so I didn't really get an answer. But to me, that seemed like the most logical way to accomplish what we need to do is make sure that everybody has access.
When you say force, what does that mean? I mean, you're speaking to an industry that's not regulated. I don't know how.
Yeah, but I guess
any longer, so.
Right, if there was I guess I looked at it, if there's dollars out there, they would have to work together to come together.
I see.
So say they split up the state and this provider is already working over here and, they could focus on their part and this, and maybe come up with a way or a plan to accomplish the goals. And then, then I also brought up the fact that, when we're talking about underserved, where access is one thing, but then having the proper tools and training is another thing.
Sure.
So that's about where we're at with broadband.
Yeah.
It's hard to accomplish something, I think, at the local level, when you're trying to work with those providers and everything. So I think where Joyce was going was, could you leverage those state dollars to bring those providers together to say, if you want to tap into these dollars, these are going to be the requirements. So it's kind of more incentive oriented.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because at a minimum, it probably has to be county, otherwise regional, like the MadRep region, and there's other regions like that around the state, or at the state level. But I think it's a little unrealistic to expect us at the local level to really make a lot happen in that area when we don't control a lot of the factors, there. And like you said, Randy, there's not regulation that makes those requirements either,
right.
For that industry.
Yeah. There was a time.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. But we continue to monitor it, and if there are opportunities, we'll engage where it makes sense for it.
Good.
So that kind of covers our summary. The reason we wanted to just give the overview is Joyce and I are going to meet with Mark after the next CETA meeting and kind of identify maybe some priorities for this committee that we want to work on over the next year, and then in anticipation of kind of a refresh of this document. But I think you can see across all of the buckets here, we've made good progress in a lot of different areas and are continuing to move a number of initiatives, forward. But I think it also shows that we do need to refresh and update this document as well. So we're glad that we've got some resources available in the ARPA TID, and we may come to CETA to ask for some additional dollars to add to that once we decide we want to move forward with a refresh of this document. And then we'll have to reassemble a group again of business leaders, stakeholder, community leaders to be part of that process with us. Any questions?
Well, thank you, Mike and Joyce, for that update. Let us know what we can do as a committee to help as this goes forward. We'll next move on to the development updates. Mike?
Sure. Just a few things that'll be coming to the February Plan Commission to give you a preview. There's another solar project that is coming. This is the one, it's called Sunnyside Solar Project, which will be kind of east of Muchler, north of Wayland, and west of Fish Hatchery Road. This is another one with EDF Renewables, about a 20 megawatt solar, and then also co-located on the site would be a 40 megawatt kind of battery storage capacity. So this is EDF Renewable and MG&E. So city staff has been kind of working with them on the formulation of that potential project. So they'll be on the Plan Commission in February. We've got the fourth edition of Terra Vesa coming forward, which will provide us another kind of inventory of available lots in Fitchburg. So we're happy to see that come forward. So that'll continue some good housing activity in Terra Vesa. And then the other one is the Highfield Reserve that Viridian's doing. Unfortunately, over on the west side of Fitchburg, the Verona School District, we're kind of tapped out there as far as lots with the finishing off of Crescent Crossing and the Stoner Prairie subdivision there. So that's all the more reason why we need to move that South Stoner Prairie neighborhood plan forward to try and get some new capacity and inventory available in that school district. Then that Artist Lofts project that I mentioned, they're going to be on the Plan Commission for a pre-application meeting. And then another project I'm very excited about is there's going to be an amendment to the Comprehensive Development Plan for Orchard Point. And this is for a project at the corner of Nesbitt and Limestone, just the lot adjacent to or the building that has Pancake Cafe. And it's for a 100-room hotel project there. So really excited about it. So keep an eye on that one. And we're trying to collectively as staff move that one forward through the entitlement process there. So those are kind of the development updates. Am I missing anything, Joyce, that you can think of? There's all kinds of projects percolating out there, but these are the ones that are kind of the preview for the next Plan Commission meeting.
I have a question regarding the development at the corner of Fitch-Verona and Lacey that was moving forward a couple of years ago. Is that still moving forward, or is that stalled? It was a subdivision on the south side of Lacey and Payne and Dolan. Was it Payne and Dolan?
Oh, okay. Yeah, the land that's in the urban service area right now that they were working on. Yeah. That one hasn't moved forward yet. We've had one development entity kind of approach us on it because I think while Payne and Dolan has done some initial work, I think they're looking for a development partner that's in the housing, sector there to actually be the end developer of that property. So we did have conversations with one there. So it's really kind of in Payne and Dolan's hands at this point in time as far as if they identify a development partner. And we'd love to see that come forward because that would get us some more lots, sooner rather than later while we wait for the South Stoner Prairie neighborhood plan, to be finished.
Because I thought it came before Plan when I was on Plan, and we were looking at lots and lot sizes, and it was all laid out. And okay, I assumed it was moving quicker than what I see now, which is not a lot.
Yeah, we had hoped it would move quicker.
Yeah,
there too. Yeah, right. So that would get us some inventory of lots.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, then My T grant report, yes. So we submitted
Keep
our.
going, Mike.
We submitted our T grants, and somebody asked the question last month, what were kind of the job guarantees associated with those T grant reports? So the first one I'll just mention is the T grant that we received for the Sub-Zero Parkway extension. In this report, for the T grant, you do a 3-year report, and then you do a 7-year report. So with the Sub-Zero Parkway, we're already at the 7-year mark, and that's kind of the final report for that one. So the jobs guarantee, working with Sub-Zero Group on that one, was for the creation of 222 new jobs and retention of 458 existing jobs. And I'm pleased to report that we fully fulfilled that jobs guarantee as part of the T grant and everything. So thank you to our private sector partner, Sub-Zero Group, on that one. So we've got that one submitted and everything. Then the other one, now we're at a 3-year report. This is for the Lacey Road kind of reconstruction. And this one involves 2 partners, both Sub-Zero Group again, and then Promega Corporation, because they both have facilities and expansion projects over there. So as part of the job creation, the requirement was 100 jobs, new jobs from Sub-Zero, and then 105 new jobs from Promega Corporation. And we have fulfilled both of those from our respective private sector partners, which again we greatly appreciate. And then the jobs guarantee collectively from the 2 of them from existing was for 2,427 jobs retained. And again, pleased to report that we exceed that amount, and we exceed it by a good number there. So good things happening. The T grant is a helpful program for us as far as infrastructure investment that allows our private sector partners like Sub-Zero Group and Promega Corporation to expand their facilities. So we appreciate the partnership with our companies, but also with WISDOT, because it's made good things happen in our community. Any questions on that? Oh, seeing none. Then I'll just make one announcement on an event, and it's tonight. If you're available, 4 o'clock, we're going out to Four Winds Farms. This is for a Fitchburg Chamber Biz after hours from 4 to 6 at Four Winds Farms.
Okay, thank you. All right, we are at the end of our agenda. Is there anything else any of the committee members would like to bring up at this time? Yes.
H&I, the application process is in motion. I don't know the actual cutoff date, but those that wishing to apply for a grant, that application, they need to do so now.
Okay.
I'm just going to go back just quick one step to the subcommittee reports. The Housing Advisory Committee, it will be meeting in February. We'll be meeting every other month now, based upon a recommendation from Mayor Julia Radafrada. At the February meeting, we're trying to get someone from WIDA with an H to come and talk about the $500 million that the governor has set aside for housing, and talk about those programs in greater detail, and see if there's a way that Fitchburg can capitalize on any of those programs. So I'll let you know if I hear from them, if anybody wants to hop on that that meeting. We are working internally on our Efficiency Navigator contract, hoping to have that go out probably soon. Once we get all the details worked out, it'll come to CETA for approval. And I think that's it, right?
Just to piggyback on Randy's announcement of the H&I grant program, the deadline, they're due on February 9th.
Okay, thank you. All right, if there are no other announcements or information to share with this group, I would entertain a motion for adjournment. And our next meeting is Thursday, February 22nd.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you, folks, for your time and being patient with the original challenge with the technical stuff. Scott, thank you for coming to help.